You want to know your appreciation rates in the area. All these different websites can give you that idea. For us, we're looking for an area that's growing and not declining. We're looking for areas on the upswing, not areas on the downswing, of course. We're not investing for appreciation gains. Our primary focus on investing is cash flow, but we do want to invest in an area that is growing and not declining. Real estate, you need to know your expenses, okay? Because when you're figuring out if a particular deal makes sense, what you're doing is you're taking your rent minus your expenses to give you your positive cash flow. And then you're going to annualize that, and you're going to do a formula where you divide it by your total investment to decide what your return is. We on average provide returns between 11 to 12%. If we're operating in a stronger neighborhood, we'll go down to 9%. But in Pittsburgh, you're going to find 11 to 12% is our average. You need to determine what return you need on your investment. And then you'll be able to figure that out once you have your rental amount, you know about the neighborhood, you have your expenses. If you need to understand that a little bit more after the presentation, I can help you understand that a little bit more, but that would take a little bit too much time up here to do. The schools, that's very important. A lot of these websites tell you what the actual school district is and the school district rating. And then you need to talk to somebody more to understand about the schools in the area. But be aware that in some areas there are multiple school districts. So you need to understand exactly which school district your property's in that area, and then how does that school district compare with the other school district in that area? Are you in the better school district? You know, some of our best investments, what we do is we go into, say, we're in a B neighborhood, but there's an area of that B neighborhood that is less desirable. It's a C plus area in a B neighborhood, but that C plus area is still in that B neighborhood school district. So you have a B neighborhood school district, a C plus area. You could find some great deals in that area, and it's very attractive because of the school district. So you're able to, that's just one of the ways we find really good deals. There's other things that go into that. For example, the area where we own a ton of property, one of the areas, and where Kathy bought, that's a C plus neighborhood. That school district, when you look up the rankings, they're not great rankings. No matter where you look them up, the rankings aren't great for the school district. But I grew up in that area. I grew up in that school district. What I know about it is that people in that area, people in that C to C plus class, they sometimes put more of a value on sports than they do on education. So in that particular area, the sports program is phenomenal. The football team's always very competitive. The basketball team's always very competitive. So the people in that area, the people who are going to live in that area right now, they desire that school district because of its sports program more than its education. So when you look up the ranking for the school, it's going to be low, but what I know is people come there just for that. So those are kind of insights that if you find out, you could uncover a lot of good opportunity. You want to find out the crime rate. In the Curry Hollow example, the crime index is 85. This is by Neighborhood Scout. The higher the crime index, the better. So 100 is the best you can get. And then when you look at that crime rate, the breakdown of crimes is 3.8% are only violent crimes, and 27.3% are property crimes. So that's the breakdown of the crime ratio that was given on Neighborhood Scout. So even if the crime index would say 50, which is in between, not the best, not the worst, but you see a low violent crime rating, that tells you that there's you're going to have some property crime, but it's not a dangerous area to live per se. Community organizations. I place, personally, our company places a huge emphasis on community organizations. For example, when you Google this area, this Curry Hollow Road example area, I Googled it and I found Landlords Association, Community Development Corporation, which means that people in that area really care about the area. What you're looking for on Google, a lot of times, if an area has a website, that means that there's people in the area that are really proactive about the area. So if you find an area where the area has a website, that's a good thing. You're looking for Community Development Corporation, Landlords Association, historic organizations. An area that has historic communities, historic organizations, is normally an area on the rise, because homes have to be renovated to a certain standard to be able to be renovated in that area. For example, there's one area we buy in where if we remove the windows, we have to put wood windows in, because that's what was there in the 1920s. That area 4 years ago was a D neighborhood. Today it's a B neighborhood. That's Manchester. So that's one thing that we really look at. You also want to look at community events. You want to look at community watch organizations. And when you have all of that or some portion of that in an area, it tells you that the community is very involved in the area. That's usually a good area to invest in. For example, on the Curry Hollow one, we located the date. If you go to the website for this area, which is called Baldwin, you're going to find they have all kind of stuff. They have an Easter egg hunt going on coming up. They have Community Development Corporation. They have just so much fun stuff to do. They want to bring it together as a community.